Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Invin. Today I wanted to bring you guys a guide on how to level up your territory standing levels and what you should prioritize first in New World when you do level up these territory standing levels in order to get the most benefit out of these areas, and kind of which ones you want to go through in the lower levels, the mid levels and the higher levels, and which actual territories and settlements themselves you want to be prioritizing early on. Now hopefully this will be helpful to you guys just ahead of the open beta, which is upcoming from the 9th to the 12th of September. If you guys haven't seen the update video I did on that yesterday, it will be linked at the end of this video if you want to go back and watch it. But essentially we've got an open beta coming with lots of new announcements of exciting stuff, which is really good stuff, so make sure you get tuned in for that one. Now in terms of this guide, what we're going to be talking about here is actually the territory standing level ups, so which perks you should prioritize. So starting off with this one here then, you're really going to want to get the XP gain up as a pretty obvious first one to get up in terms of territory standing levels, because obviously you want to level up quickly, and that is going to be your fastest way to increase your XP gained in these certain zones. Once you do get a few levels into your XP gain increase, you're basically going to have an extra 15, 20, 25 or whatever you manage to get up to percent increase to XP gained in that area. Now obviously this does reset in every single area, so you will need to upgrade each one as you're going along, but specifically while you're leveling early to mid game, you're definitely going to want to be picking the XP option whenever that one does come up, as it is going to help you to level up a lot quicker than normal. Now the next best one to get in my opinion is actually the territory standing gain levels, because obviously that means you level up more often. So if there isn't XP to get whilst you're leveling up, this is probably one of the best options, because it just means that you're going to be keeping rolling over those levels quicker, and you can get a lot of the other perks, including getting a house in that area for example, a ton quicker, which is always a really nice effect. And on top of that, every time you do get those rolls, you've got a chance to obviously get the XP gain one or the storage one, which we're going to move on to in a moment. And this territory standing increase is going to mean that you're going to get those more often, and obviously it's going to take you less time to get all those perks, so that's always a really good thing. Now the third best one there, like I just mentioned, is probably going to be the storage one. You'll be surprised how quickly you actually do run out of storage in this game, and if it's going to be a town particularly where you're going to be doing a lot of crafting, a lot of trading, a lot of refining, maybe somewhere like Everfall or Windswood where you're going to set your home base at, then definitely getting a storage increase is going to be really pivotal. Now planning this ahead of time is going to be very valuable, because if you're going to plan to basically craft everything in Windswood and Everfall when you're leveling in these areas, you're going to know that you're going to want to pick storage or maybe even the refining fees or crafting fees down when you're in those areas, compared to when you're in other areas that you're just using for leveling while you go through the main story in that zone or from some side missions. Then you know that you can just pick the XP ones, so it's kind of worth planning it out. But that would be my recommendation, is to get as much storage as possible, because even with a house and storage chests added later in the game, it's still very helpful to have this storage increase. It's definitely a great one to go for. Now following on from that one, it is also really nice to get a housing upkeep cost reduction one as well, then when that does pop up, if you're going to be purchasing a property in this area. So if you're going to have your inn in Everfall and not buy a house there, it's not worth getting. But if you're going to have your inn somewhere up the top of the map for those high-end farming locations, which is definitely what I would recommend, purchasing a property or a house in Everfall, in Windswood, wherever it is that you're going to be crafting, is definitely worth doing. So again, when this one pops up to reduce the property tax, it's definitely worth clicking on that as well when you can, because again it's going to cost you a lot less for that upkeep when you are going along in those zones. Now once you get sort of mid to late game, you're not really going to need to get the XP increase, because maybe you're on the last 5-10 levels, or indeed you're level 60, so the XP increase isn't going to be all that great. And in these higher level zones, or some of these further out zones that you haven't been to as much, what you could do is have these as specifically gathering areas. By this what I mean is you could increase the gather yield or the gather speed in these areas through the territory standing points that you can get the levels up there, which would be a really nice addition. Obviously territory standing would then be a secondary option, so you can keep rolling the levels, and obviously then something like maybe trading taxes reduced. And what you could then do is just ferry things between these areas and actually where your home base is, so you're crafting one, and maybe hopefully this is a bordering area, because it's going to be a lot cheaper on the fast travel with Azoth, or indeed just quicker to run across. But this is a really good idea to have a gathering area and a separate storage crafting area, because generally you're going to need different perks for different ones. But I have heard some crazy rumours that the cap for this is from anywhere from level 50 all the way up to level 300. I don't think anybody has actually experienced what the hard cap for this is yet in terms of territory standing levels. So it could be that we get a ton of perks and bonuses by the time we're right up in those levels, in which case these are going to be very, very good to focus in on things early on so that you're getting the best ones you can possibly get early doors, and then working from it once you kind of develop what you're going to be specifically doing in each town later into the game. Now, another really, really important thing to note is that you need to be territory standing level 10 in an area to get access to purchase your first property. So in order to do this, again, getting those territory standing levels up is a really, really good idea from those first few levels so that you can keep racking those up quicker. And obviously, if it's somewhere that you're prioritizing buying a house, maybe it's a far out city or settlement, or maybe it's just that you're going to be wanting to travel there a lot and you've got your inn set somewhere else that's valuable, getting a property in that location is going to be really, really good. So making sure you can do that by getting those territory standing levels, essentially meaning you'll level up your territory standing level a lot quicker, then that is going to be a really, really good perk to have on there instead of the XP gain, even while leveling, if that's something that you're trying to focus on. So bear that in mind too. Now, something that a lot of people kind of overlook is sort of the mid to late game as well, that kind of era where you're hitting 100, 150 plus in those gathering skills, where you're going to be getting those materials that take an awful long time to gather. Well, actually increasing the territory standing perk where you get a faster resource gather speed is really, really good in this situation, because it means you can just focus on those in some of the high end zones, again, where you don't necessarily need as much of that XP gain and territory standing gain levels. You can just generally gather those levels there and get the resource speed increase whenever it pops up, because that's going to be a really valuable one to have access to in terms of when it does come to gathering some of those, you know, like the lodestones and the platinum, which are taking a fair few seconds each to gather. Having that big reduction on it, maybe 10-15%, maybe even pushing 20-25% when you get further into those levels, is going to be absolutely huge and give you a great advantage when you are trying to get those gathering things done quickly to getting your crafting levels up, or indeed just gathering to sell. It's going to be a really, really good opportunity. And if you are going to gather to sell, that leads nicely onto the next point of maybe reduce your market tax in that zone as well. So get resource speed gathering up and get the market tax down. That way you're going to get less trade tax and you're going to be able to gather things quicker, overall making you get a much bigger profit at a faster rate, which is always a really, really nice addition. So hopefully you guys have found this quick sort of summary guide on what you should prioritize with territory standing levels very useful. Hopefully it does help you out just ahead of the open beta here. If any of you are trying to focus on certain things, maybe knuckle down on your crafting, knuckle down on your XP rates, how fast you can level up, that kind of thing, or you're just trying to experiment with different builds, hopefully this does help you out in terms of where you should be heading with your territory standing levels when you do increase them, and gives you an idea of just how useful these can actually be in the end. Now, if you have enjoyed today's video, please leave me a like on the video, as it really does help me out. If you're new to the channel and you want to see more New World content, do drop a subscribe. We're uploading new videos every single day, so we'd love to have you here. If you want to get involved in the community behind the scenes, then head over to my Discord. It'll be linked in the description and in the comments below, and it's how you can join my New World company if you do want to. We've got a few spots left, so we're looking for some really, really cool people to join us. So if you'd like to do that, head over to the Discord and get involved there. And other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching. Take care and peace.